Assalamualaikum and a very good day. I bid to Dr. Azlina and to all my fellow classmates. My name is Mohamad Sobri, and today me and my partner, Katherine Livan Kehing, are going to present to you our conceptual paper entitled English Language for Competency of Tvet students in enhancing their marketability in the workplace. So before I start, let me introduce to you the flow of our presentation. We have divided our presentation into several parts, actually 8 parts altogether. Firstly, I will start by showing to you a short video about our topic, and then I will continue with the introduction and some background of the study. After that, I will carry on the presentation by touching on the problem statements, research questions, and also the significance of the study. After that, I will pass the floor to the next speaker to present on the rest of the presentation, which are the implications, the discussion part on the topic that we are discussing, and also the conclusions and the suggestions that we offer. This presentation is expected to last about 20 minutes. Should you have any inquiries relating to our topic, you may ask us at the end of this presentation. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and let's enjoy our short video.
Hello everyone, this video will explain briefly about our concept paper entitled English Language Competency of Tvet Students in Enhancing Their Marketability in the Workplace. Our group member consisting of me, Mohamad Sobri bin Suhaili, and my partner, Katherine Kehing, Binti Abdullah. Tvet is now one of the most prominent fields to those who wish to further their studies. Tvet education is seen more popular, and with government giving more attention and encouragement to the school leavers to pursue their education with Tvet, the number of Tvet enrollment rose significantly. However, there are several issues pertaining to the competency level of students, especially in the mastery of English language and communication. This is proven by the feedback given by the industry in the recent studies on the satisfaction level of Tvet graduates. So, in this study, we are trying to find what kind of language proficiency is expected by the industry on Tvet graduates, and is the current Tvet curriculum is sufficient to prepare them for the workplace. Therefore, we will discuss on how the English language teaching can increase Tvet graduates' marketability, as well as the importance of 4C in the 21st century learning. When Tvet education in Malaysia aims to produce semi-professional workers in technical and vocational field, the role of higher learning institutions, corporate companies, and industry players will also be discussed on their contribution in producing competent graduates. In a nutshell, Tvet education is one of the most popular options nowadays, and it is important to ensure the graduates produced are all-rounded in terms of their skills as well as their language proficiency in enhancing their marketability in the workplace. That's all from us. Thank you very much.
All right. So the video was an overview of what we are going to discuss in this presentation. So let me start by introducing what Tvet is. Tvet, or Technical Vocational Education and Training, is a full-time and a lifelong learning of technical and vocational training offered to individuals from various stages of in the society to prepare them towards the working environment to contribute to the nation's economic growth. Since Malaysia is heading towards becoming a high-income nation, or at least a higher advanced income nation in the near future, it is important to keep on developing and strengthening skilled workers in terms of their competency by ensuring that suitable education and training is done to cater to the needs of the industry as well as the business industry. So in doing so, the government has given a lot of emphasis on Tvet education because Tvet industry is expanding together with the development of our country. According to the Economic Transformation Plan, or the ETP, there will be 12 national key economic area that are demanding on the Tvet workers. So parallel to that, the government is also aims to produce a good quality graduate, as mentioned in the Malaysia Education Blueprint 2015-2025 for higher education. Therefore, it is undeniable that Tvet education is important to address the demand of the industry with the quality Tvet graduate. Now we will look at the problem statement. So with the huge, with the huge number of Tvet training provider in Malaysia, there are some issues regarding the quality of the graduates produced. So according to the feedback by the industry in 2018, the satisfaction level of polytechnic graduate, there are some issues in terms of the satisfaction level of polytechnic graduate by the industry. In terms of one is the competency level of English language, and also in terms of their communication skills in general. So therefore, we have developed two questions that we really want to look into. The first one is, what is the expected language proficiency, or the expected language competency by the industry on Tvet graduates? That is the research question number one. And for the research question number two, we want to look at, is the current curriculum sufficient in preparing Tvet students for the workplace? Now, we will look into the significance of this study. Since English language is a compulsory subject to be undertaken by anyone who ever study under the mainstream national education system, and for the biggest training provider in Malaysia, a Malaysian Polytechnic Diploma Program, a structure also contains 4 compulsory English courses, namely Communicative English 1, Communicative English 2, and 3. These courses are offered to engineering and commerce students. As for IT students, they need to take English for digital technology. So all students need to pass all English courses in order for them to graduate. The English syllabus of those courses is structured to cater the needs of their respective program. However, the burden is put on the shoulder of the English lecturer, of the ESL lecturer, where most of, if not all of them, has a limited or no knowledge on the field of their students' field of study. This is due to the fact that English lecturers are not familiar with technical terms in the specific field, be it in engineering or commerce or even ICT. So, despite the incompetency of the ESL lecturers, these lecturers are making their own initiative by implementing the 21st century learning approach to promote FOSI among their students. So although the ESL lecturers lack of technical skills, they still can encourage the students to learn collaboratively, to think creatively and critically in order to improve the students' communication skills. So we think that inculcating the English syllabus in Tvet is something positive and good. However, the implementation of the syllabus can still be improved. This somehow has contributed to the lack of English competency among Tvet graduates, especially in the target field. All right. Next, I will pass this presentation to my partner to continue with the rest of the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mohamad Sobri. So I'm going to continue with the presentation. So we have already looked at the significance of the study. Now let's move on to the implication on the lack of language competency among Tibet students. So there are three implications which we have identified. First, the graduates are less competitive due to the lack of language competency. So because of the incompetence, it creates communication barrier in the workplace. So these less competitive graduates will find it difficult to communicate at their workplace. It will be difficult for them to adapt to the working environment. The second implication is low marketability value. The graduates will find it difficult for them to market themselves due to the lack of language competency. So this usually happens during the interview session where they can't express themselves, especially when the interview is carried out in English. Though they might be skillful, but due to the lack of language competency, they might not be hired by the company. And third, due to low marketability value of the local workers. So the industry will be depending more on the foreign skilled workers since they are able to communicate better. The industry could go further with their language competency and could even gain more benefits, for example, when there is a need to deal with foreign investors. So this is certainly not healthy for the local economy since it contributes to the increased number of employability in our country. So moving on to my next slide. We have already looked at the implication on the lack of language competency. Now let's move on to the educational institutions and industry collaboration. For the way forward, the education or the modules of these Tibet students would have to involve both the education institutions as well as the link with the industry. When there is a constant link from both parties, the feedback from the industry could help in the institution, to construct their modules, and this could also give some ideas to the institution about what sort of expectations as well as requirements are set by the industry. We have identified 3 points here which are related to the roles of the educational institution and the industry on how to collaborate and fit into each other. Firstly, is the signing of Memorandum of Understanding, which is also known as MOU, or the COC, which is known as the Certificate of Collaboration with the industry, is a good way to maintain a connection between both parties. So this practice has been going on, and there is a need to strengthen the implementation or the execution of the agreed items listed in the MOU. There are actually a lot of benefits which can be gained through the collaboration of both educational institution and industry in a more structured way. Next, our second point here refers back to our research question, which has been discussed earlier. To answer our first research question, which is the expected language competency by the industry on Tvet graduates, through our research, we found out that the educational institution needs to have a strong partnership with industries. To fulfill the expected language competency by the industry, educational institutions and industries have to work hand in hand, and there will be a win-win situation whereby the educational institution could benefit in terms of providing students with programs related to the industry. Students could have more exposures in the industry, easy access to the industry, and a revised syllabus which suits the needs of the industry. While for the industry itself, on the other hand, they get to contribute in producing a highly skilled Tvet graduate according to their preference. So some examples of partnerships which have already been done are the industry advisor program, CEO faculty program, and industry advisory meeting. Lastly, the lecturers in the industrial attachment program, which refers back to our second research question, which is the current curriculum sufficient in preparing Tibet students for the workplace? In order to equip the students with sufficient preparation for the workplace, the lecturers first have to experience being in the industry. This actually has been done and practiced in Malaysian polytechnic education, and we need to ensure that more emphasis is being given to this kind of program, because lecturers who undergo this type of program will develop the competency from the exposure they have in the industry. This would also include the competency in the English language for the specific field. So lecturers get first-hand experiences during the program, and they can contribute back to improve their lesson. And moving on to my last final slide. Okay, so to wrap up our topic, which is the English language competency of Tibet students in enhancing their marketability in the workplace, there are three things that we identified. So first of all, there should be a parallel teaching of technical and English course. The practice of having two lecturers teaching during a lesson, whereby these two lecturers are of different educational background, is a good way to enhance the understanding of the students. And this can be modeled by the teaching of English language together with technical courses, which is already implemented in 13 University Sarawak campus. The technical lecturer will focus more on the technical terms, while the language lecturer will look at the use of English language during the lesson. This could further enhance the understanding of students' content knowledge, besides encouraging students to practice the language so that they are familiar with all the technical terms, and would also be an added value when entering the working environment. Next would be to allocate funds for technical lecturers to collect CPD hours for personal development. Lecturers should be encouraged to go on trainings and courses that could enhance their language skills, for example. When specific fund is allocated for this purpose, technical lecturers could also gain some more CPD hours while attending the trainings related to enhancing their language skills. Lastly, the government should encourage more foreign companies to invest in our country. Foreign investment is needed to increase foreign trading. So this foreign company will bring in technology and expertise into our country, and the local can benefit the most. The government can impose a policy under the human resource management on the ratio of local and foreign workers. So with this policy to be implemented, the company can train our Tibet students with new technology and competencies. So in conclusion, the level of competency in English language and communication skills and the level of employer satisfaction on Tibet graduates are important to increase or enhance the graduates' marketability in the workplace. So I think that's all from us. Thank you very much.